Thank you for fanning my flame. We've been talking about how to fuel the fire based on a couple of scriptures where Paul talks about in his letter to the Roman church the necessity of keeping your spiritual fervor. So we know we need to. The question is how. He tells Timothy to fan into flame the gift that God has given him. So we talked about Laodicea, Jesus' letter to the church about not being lukewarm, but rather being hot or cold. And so we've been talking about how to do that, and some of you are helping me by your comments and by your suggestions. And it's okay if you feel like you don't have the answer or don't know the precise answer. I don't know that there is the answer to any of these questions. But when you respond and when you comment and when you demonstrate by your comments that you're thinking with me and that you're engaged in this, that really helps encourage me. It's not much fun talking to a camera and to feel like you're talking to yourself. And so it's nice to know that people are there and that you're engaged in this. And I firmly believe that God can use this conversation and our discussion to help fuel a fire in each of us. And while I would love for there to be more people involved in this conversation, there are folks who are kind of watching and seeing what's going on. And maybe when a few of us increase our spiritual fervor and get a little more enthusiastic, I think others will begin to kind of be drawn to that and be pulled into that as well. And I'm excited about the ideas. I want to kind of catch up a little bit and go back to some of your comments. I've wondered, I've not been sure how much to respond to your comments on the post. I've tried to stay out of the conversation some so it doesn't sound like I'm doing any back and forth with you and letting you guys kind of talk among yourselves some. But I did want to catch up and at least acknowledge some of those. Some innovative ideas, different. I like the idea about a car wash where people are handed a tablet and while we wash their car, their only fee is that they watch our video. I think you could do some sort of a video presentation, a simple presentation of the good news of Jesus that would be enjoyable, that would be entertaining, engaging, and we'd have a way to use that probably in several different settings besides just a car wash. So I think it's a great idea, and I like that kind of thing. I would love to see us take that and magnify it, multiply it. A couple of you have mentioned doing service-type projects. A couple of folks had talked about just finding ways to show love, to express love. So many people have a negative perception of Christians, so the more we can do to show love, the better. And Jesus said, this is how you'll be recognized as my disciples, is that you love each other. So if we can do that, that'd be great. A car wash that's free like that would be one way. Any other service projects, and this is where your ideas come in. And as you hear these things and you think of other ideas, share them, and we'll keep all this together and keep a list going. I like the idea somebody had about collecting or picking up trash in a neighborhood. I don't know if that's everywhere, but in our neighborhood, it seems to have become more common that people just throw things out the window. And anywhere that there's a stretch where that is allowed to stay, the broken window syndrome takes effect and more people throw trash out there. And so I thought, hey, wouldn't it be fun to just walk down the streets, cleaning up the streets, and hopefully seeing people and engaging folks and be able to hand them a card that's got a little message about, hey, we're cleaning up the streets. We really want to help people clean up their lives and their hearts. That's what Jesus is all about. Something along those lines. I think it's a great idea. I also want to touch on this that I may have given you the wrong impression. A couple of folks talked about inviting people to church. Just making sure you understand, I am not against that. I think that's a great thing, and I'd love to see us continue to do that. The point that I'm trying to make is this. For one, I think we are seeing a decline in people's receptivity to that. And I think we're seeing a decline in our willingness to do that. Because we're not seeing a lot of guests. Now, this is before COVID-19. Obviously, we're not seeing a lot of guests right now. We went through a lot of very elaborate process of trying to see what it felt like to be a first-time visitor at Williams Road. And we had a couple of times, two different segments, we brought in guest shoppers that we had a personnel agency arrange for us, and they filled out a survey to tell us what it was like and what made them uncomfortable, etc. So it's important to us, and has been important to us, to make a good first impression. As somebody has said, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. And we want people to be welcomed here, to feel at home here when they come to Williams Road. So it's a great thing to invite people to church. And as one of you said, that you feel good about the church enough to want to invite people is a good thing. So I'm not against that whatsoever. I'm just not sure that that's going to continue to be very effective, since so many people, at least in their own mind, have already checked out of church. But if we'll do that, and if people will come, nobody would be happier than I would. And I like things we've done with Friends Day and that sort of thing in the past. We tend to invite our church friends from other places, etc. I'd really like to see us working at connecting to people who may not really be interested in church, to try to find some way to bring them in. The open house that we did a few years ago, I thought was a great event, and brought in a lot of new people in who probably had never been. The only thing is, most of them never came back, and I don't know, maybe we can figure out a way to change that some. And so it doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't a good idea just because it didn't do what we were hoping the first time around. So all of those are great ideas, and it's encouraging to me that you're having ideas and that you're thinking about that, and I encourage you to keep doing that. One comment is something I'll follow up on the next time, and it's also in line with something I've already been mentioning some. It's something I've talked to the elders some about, that I'm interested in seeing us pursue, and that is social media outreach, where I or others record a little video, or where we use a meme or something along those lines, a scripture, on an image, something that our people, our members, will feel comfortable sharing, and maybe adding their personal comment to encourage interest in Jesus and His message. I'll talk some more about that next time we're together. Thanks again for being here. Thanks again for participating in the conversation. If you haven't yet joined in, do so. Don't feel like you got to have the final answer and know everything. We just want to know what your thoughts are. You might have the best idea that we ever come across just waiting there, that you need to just get it out there. So thanks for doing that, and thanks for encouraging me in that.